help but wonder where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Can't help but wonder where I'm bound.
Go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to What's the Rush with me, Rebecca Rush. I am your adventure teammate on this exploration, and we look at the transformative insights that are discovered in life's quiet moments, the wild times, and maybe even the humbling times. Our guests reveal the wisdom that comes not from chasing achievement, but from listening deeply to the world around and inside them. So today's guest, Craig Childs, is a master of listening. He's a writer, he's an explorer, a naturalist, and has spent decades tracing the hidden stories that are in the land, walking ancient migration routes, navigating desert rivers, biking to find the darkest night sky, and basically spending years without a roof overhead with the goal to experience and understand the rhythms of the earth. And lucky for us, he brings those stories back to us in his amazing writing. He's been featured in The Atlantic, Outside, New York Times. I think he's on 14 books, a lot of books, many that are sitting right here in front of me. And through his books, he helps us see that adventure isn't about conquering nature, it's about being in conversation with us. He invites us to get out, to slow down, to look more closely, and remember the world is still full of mystery if we're willing to pay attention. So every time I exit one of his books, I end up with feelings of awe and reverence of how small I am and how vast the world is. I also leave Craig's stories feeling unhurried, which is very rare for me, and feeling content to be still for a moment. So, Craig Childs, welcome so much to What's the Rush?
Wow, thank you for that introduction. That's I want to be that person.
It was hard to like kind of, you are that person actually. You've had a really big impact on me.
Oh,
In so many ways with your writing. So it's really fun. I got to meet you in person a couple of weeks ago after we'd already planned this. You were just in Idaho, in our beautiful dark sky preserve here, working on a book and also promoting your current book. You want to tell us about your time here and what you were doing?
oh yeah, yeah. That was a surprise to find out. I mean, I knew you were in Idaho, but Idaho is a place I don't
It's
understand.
vast.
There's some mountains, there's some desert. So I didn't quite know where everything was. I ended up in Ketchum for 3.5 weeks. My wife and I were there, invited by the library to do a writing residency.
Yeah,
With
you were living in Ernest Hemingway's house. The
Yes,
residency was in
yeah,
Hemingway's house. Like, what did that invitation, I mean, to come and live in such an iconic writer's house, like, what was
yeah.
that like?
It was intense. It was especially when his bedroom light went on in the middle of the night.
I mean, they say there are ghosts there. There's ghosts everywhere.
Yeah, I hear.
But yeah, for those who don't know, is Ernest Hemingway's house. He lived in Ketchum, and he ultimately ended his life here in Ketchum. And the library, our community library, is amazing. The house has been preserved, and the upstairs of the house is exactly as it was when he died.
Yeah,
Not
there's
exactly as it
still
was. His
clothes hanging in
clothes
the
are
closet.
still in the closet, and yeah, it's a really cool historical preservation. But there's also a writer's residency where they host writers. So yeah, Craig, how did you get to be invited to do
Oh,
this, to stay here?
I don't know. They reached out, and I said, "Well, actually, I need that. I'll be in a manuscript deadline and could use some time in one place, especially to have Hemingway's ghost looking over my shoulder." Or that was kind of interesting. I mean, to be thinking about Hemingway, which is not somebody I think about, but suddenly go, "Oh, short declarative sentences." This
Mm,
very different style in this, and from a person who has a complex history, where you
yeah,
can't like I read some of his stuff, and I go, okay, how do you feel about women? Um,
yeah.
Like I know how everybody says you feel about them, but sometimes there are things that I read where I go, "Oh, you understand gender. Like
Mm,
this isn't. You're not blind to things." You know, it was interesting to think about him as a human being and
yeah.
not as an icon. And then think about this human being in ghost form looking over my shoulder, going, "I wouldn't use that word." I would restructure that sentence and be going, "Okay, hold on, Ernest. I'm trying to
Really?
get through this paragraph."
I mean, so you felt that much impact from being in his house, in his place. You felt like it entered your writing.
Yeah, I thought a lot about him and his
Mm,
writing and what he was trying to do and how he was really a different writer for that age. That he was very straightforward and
yeah.
not hiding behind complex language. And
Well, th-
it's
that
inspiring.
experience, I mean, it will be interesting to read your next book, and since I've read all your other books, and see if I notice a slight change in style. That will be interesting. And if I notice, I'll be like, oh, that's Hemingway.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know how it affected things. I know I thought more about it, and every once in a while I'll get into a sentence where I'll go, "Oh, yeah, that's a little bit more than you need there.
Mm.
You're saying more than needs to be said. Remember,
Oh,
remember to come back to ground."
so I mean, this is a perfect example of how I think about your writing and your storytelling. It's very immersive storytelling, immersive for the reader, but also immersive because you literally go walk prehistoric migration routes. You literally go ride your bike to find the night sky and go hike everywhere to look at, ancient civilizations and trace water. And this Hemingway thing is just another example of you immersing yourself in the story, in the place, in the setting. Like, why
Yeah.
could you write any other way? Like, why do you need to be in a place, like physically walking on the land, sweating, carrying a backpack?
Yeah, I think there are many reasons. I think one, you use the word immerse. That's how I do it. I mean, I need to be completely surrounded by something and have it permeate me, have it enter my body for me to really to relate to it. And so, like explorations you've done, it's the the purpose is to immerse yourself, is to be kind of consumed by the experience um, but then there's also the physical component of actually being there, being in the place where something happened. If
Yeah.
it's being in Hemingway's place or if it's being on a pre-Columbian migration route, it's going, okay, here's the horizon. I'm having a direct engagement with the landscape where this is happening. And so I can see it on all scales. I can see it, in the moment that the wind is blowing and the sun is shining, and I can see it on erosional scales, and I can feel it under my feet. I think when you do a thing like that, you're understanding in a place. You're understanding a place in a way that you just can't. I mean, I have written about places I haven't been, not very often.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it harder?
it's harder. Well, it's in a way it's easier because I can imagine whatever I want. I
Right,
mean,
right.
it really hasn't happened very often, but I wrote about some artifact trade in the Taklamakan Desert, place that I've never been, and I looked at a lot of pictures, read people's accounts, but really I was there to assemble a story
Mhm.
that wasn't about the place, but it was easier because I couldn't describe things and I had to stick to what I was
Right, right.
saying, but then harder in that just like I have no idea what if I was actually there, this would be a complex story that would
Mhm.
you'd really feel it. You'd feel the warmth of morning and all that.
Yeah, the information you're getting more information when you're in the
Yeah.
place
Yeah.
itself. Do you think you're getting information from, I mean, you're getting it from the wind, from the sun, from the physical environment around you? Um, you've been in a lot of very ritualistic, spiritual places, well-known places. Do you think that energy is maintained there? And when you're there, you feel it too?
Yeah. There's something there. There's some ineffable, unidentifiable energy, memory,
Hmm.
something that I can't put my finger on because it's not something you can put your finger on. It's something that just enters you,
Yeah.
and I don't know what it is. And sometimes I think it's just imagination
Mm.
that your brain is assembling everything. Your brain is going, oh, I know that there were these ancient things that happened here, and here's the horizon I'm looking at. But maybe that is a lens that focuses that energy. Uh,
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
it's real, uh, well, it is real. It has an
Well,
effect.
yeah, yeah. What is real? I mean, we could get into a really philosophical, our perception, is that even real?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
But
we
we're
could get
picking something up. There's information arriving.
Yeah, I do agree with you. And, I've even felt it in situations that aren't, designated, special places, Often we get that sort of like hair on the back of our neck, or we get a little tingle, and, something happens. I believe in that kind of energy. I did a trip that it really reinforced it for me. One of my big expeditions was riding the Ho Chi Minh Trail, 1,200 miles on my bike through the jungles with a Vietnamese woman, a Vietnamese, I didn't know her, stranger, a mountain biker. And I went to go to the place where my dad was shot down during the Vietnam American conflict when I was just 3. So I have no memories of him. I don't know him. And I just kind of wanted to go to this place and see what was there. And so I shaped this big old bike ride that I want to talk to you about your bike ride too, to go ride there. And, when we finally got to the spot, there were map coordinates and all that. There was definitely a really calm energy there, and you'd think somebody had died there, that maybe it would be a not a calm energy. But I found out through the village chief, through loud translations, that the village chief, his father had actually buried my father and the other soldier who crashed that day. The loud people waited, and then went in and actually buried the dead bodies out of respect. And I just thought that I found that out afterwards and was just kind of blown away by it. And I feel like that's where the peaceful energy is. And the village chief there, he said, we won't cut this tree down. This is a holy place, even though they were quote unquote enemies, at
Yeah.
that time. But the energy of that place was really powerful, and a butterfly showed up, and all sorts of stuff that have happened that I'm sure when you're in nature, just inexplicable stuff happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's kind of endless out there, and especially if you've got that lens that's focusing it of your intention of being on a long journey to find something
right,
very close to your heart,
right.
and then to find it. That it seems like doors just open into realms that are invisible but have a visible impact.
Well, I want to ask you this. Well, people always ask me, why'd you have to ride your bike 1,200 miles? Like, you had the map coordinates. Couldn't you just go there? Would it have been easier to like take a plane, maybe you hike a couple miles. And my response has always been is that I needed to immerse in the place, the
Yeah.
culture, the people, and I needed to make myself physically really tired so that I could be more open to what, couldn't fight it. I couldn't like not be friendly to people, or not, because I was just too exhausted to be honest with you. But it stripped away a lot of defensive layers. And so I'm curious for you, you've done some really long journeys and months out in the wilderness. Why? I mean, same question. Why do you need to
Yeah.
follow a drop of water, or the way that water flows? Why do you need to follow? Can't you just go to the place where the source is?
Yeah. Well, like you could have driven, you could have been taken there. You could have gone to where your father crashed, and uh, and it would have been an experience. But I think you and I both know that we have we have access to so much experience here that you might as well take it all in
Yeah.
rather than just get the glimpse of it, because it would have been effective. You would have showed up, however, not biking as far as you did, but getting a ride, and you would have had a moment. But we know that those moments become so much powerful when they're in a context of journey and sensation, feeling a place and really feeling it. Sunset, sunrise, like the Wild Dark, the book on finding the darkest place in Nevada. um, I live, well, like you, I live in one of those places.
Yeah.
The sky where I am in Southwest Colorado is the darkest of the dark. There's a certain darkness that you reach, and then you can't get any darker, and that's where we live. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna bike across the desert to get to the same place.
Yeah.
But it's a whole different experience because here I walk outside at night, I see the stars, and then
Mm.
I go back inside. I go, cool,
Yeah.
look at the cool stars. Okay, back to work.
That's
But
what I do.
but biking that distance, just watching the night change night by night to get away from Las Vegas and into the darkest sky. It's the transition going from night to night and really feeling the light change and getting into the rhythm of movement, so that by the time I got to the darkest sky, it was, I swear, the darker or brighter with stars than any sky I've ever seen. But I know I've been in that same sky many times. But it was
Yeah.
different because of the immersion. It was different because it was in a context of journey and transitions. And that let me see what was really going on, which I imagine is the same with you and where your dad was shot down, that that you saw a lot more of the experience than you would have. It
Yeah.
it had a
Yeah.
bigger impact.
I think there's something to be said for the physical work and the time, and then, like you said, your ride from the brightest place in North America to in the world, maybe to the darkest. You had to do it gradually, and
Mhm.
so you had a really cool. I want to talk about the book a little bit because it's pretty amazing, and I love the term bortle. I didn't know what a bortle was. And that is how you structured the book, basically going a measurement of light from the lightest to the darkest. Do you want to talk about bortle for a second? Because I thought it was a really great way to structure the days of your journey. It was like definitely a process going through the bortles.
Yeah, and I just love the name
Yeah,
Bortle
it's fun to
because
say.
it's a space word. Like, we are now entering the Bortle,
Bortle. Yeah.
and it's a person named Bortle, John E. Bortle. He came up with the scale for uh, naked eye viewing of the night sky, from one being the darkest to nine being a Las Vegas Strip sky.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so the structure of the book is going starting in Bortle 9 and going to Bortle 1, and every night is a different Bortle. So every night is what I found to be a surprisingly different sky. 9 very different skies.
Mm,
And that's not, when I set out to write the book, I didn't know if that would work. I
yeah.
thought, oh yeah, they'll be different, but how different will they be? And every night I would as soon as it's full dark and I'm counting, looking for which stars are coming out and which are still invisible, every night I was going, oh my gosh, this is a really different sky than I saw
Yeah.
last night.
Yeah.
And this is going to be 9 nights of very different skies. I wouldn't think that there would be that kind of variation, but there was.
Wow. And you were traveling with your friend and you were basically what they call now bike packing. You've got all your gear loaded up on your bikes and you're on a bike journey, but are you a cyclist?
No,
Yeah.
it was,
Like
I,
borrowed bikes and everything? Like
yeah, yeah. We borrowed bikes, and we got gear and loaded them up, and it was unsupported,
why
for,
did you pick a bike? Since you're
for the,
not a cyclist and it's not sort of your normal mode of transport.
yeah, I picked it for the pace.
Okay.
Knowing that if I was walking, the sky wouldn't be different from night to night.
Yeah.
I, it's too slow, and I needed a human powered way of getting there. A car that I wouldn't get the transition. It would, I'd
Yeah.
get there within hours. So biking is the one that I went, well, that seems to be the right pace.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the speed at which I will watch Las Vegas recede.
Yeah.
And I've always really liked walking long landscapes and watching mountain ranges
Mhm.
come up and then go by your side and then go back. But walking is sometimes you think, oh, that mountain has always been there right next to me, and you go, no.
Yeah.
3 days ago it was farther away,
Yeah.
but it's such a slow experience.
It's really
Whereas
slow.
biking, I could see that mountain coming
Yeah.
and going by me and then receding, and I just figured that was the right way to do this.
I'm so with you. I've done a lot of different sports, running, hiking, biking, paddling, and biking has sort of become the mode of exploration, in the last sort of decade for that reason of you really can cover cover ground, but not too much ground,
Yeah, yeah, it's a nice combination.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I've really gotten into bike packing. So I was really excited to see that. You had the panniers. You actually sent me a picture of your explosion of gear as you were trying to get packed up for another ride. So
Yeah.
what's the verdict on the bike?
Oh, I
Did you
love it.
enjoy it?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, it was it's so good.
Do you think you'll do more bike adventures?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. It's I mean, there are drawbacks to it compared to walking, that you're in a defined
Yeah.
path,
Yeah.
and it takes some effort to stop. Um,
Do you not have breaks? Oh, to stop. Like it
like,
takes emotional effort to stop just
yeah,
because.
because you've got a partner
Yeah.
and they're a mile away, and if you
Yeah.
stop, they're three
Yeah.
miles away.
Yeah.
It's like a river trip that,
Yeah.
if you want to pull over, it's an event. You got to tie off and everything. And whereas walking, you go, oh, I think I'm going to stumble over that direction and then stumble that.
Yeah. You're more nimble, I would say,
Yeah.
definitely.
But you're
Um,
not covering the distance.
right. Right.
And you're not, when you're coming downhill, you're not wearing it on your back.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
that's something I noticed. There were some times that I was going, wow, we're moving and it is taking no effort.
Right. Whereas on foot, the downhill is sometimes is more painful, I think, often
Yeah.
than the uphill.
Yeah.
Well, I would be remiss in not throwing my name in the hat because one of the questions at the talk you gave at the community library, somebody was like, "How on earth do you find people to go on these adventures with you?" And I'm sitting in the back of the room going, "Pick me, pick me."
Yeah, it was a strange question because I'm like, well, I don't know that many people who wouldn't.
Well, and I was jumping up out of my seat almost. So I have to put it out there that if you're going to do more bike adventures, I would happily
Oh
be your
yeah.
professional Sherpa and tag along as a professional cyclist and an amateur writer. And you could be the professional writer and amateur cyclist, and it could
Yeah.
be a good team.
Well, being an amateur cyclist, I mean, there were definitely some concerns mechanically,
Yeah.
like
I was,
because we were
yeah.
getting pretty far out there on these in these big basins, and I was thinking, okay, if like something breaks that I can't fix here, um, we're 80 miles into a into a basin that has
Yeah.
that really is a long, it's a journey getting out of here on foot.
Yeah, well, you're gonna need to build your team with somebody who knows how to fix a bike, all right?
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. We just had flat tires and that was it, but I definitely, and we were banging on hard terrain with these bikes, and I was just
Yeah.
going, God, I hope these hubs don't break.
And then you gave the bikes back because they weren't even yours or the loaner bikes. You're like, here you
Yeah. Well, it was somebody very kindly. We actually were coming with gravel bikes,
go. Yeah.
and he said, "Oh, yeah, you're not going to make it. You need something serious for
Yeah.
this."
Mountain bike. Yeah.
And he and his wife lent us their two bikes, and they were great. It was very helpful.
How
Um,
do you design, how do you like design these adventures slash writing stories slash, explorations? Because you've got so many different journeys. Each book is a journey through places that you've been. So how do you pick the
uh,
trail, the path, the thing to go look for?
you
What
mean
are
in
you
the
looking for,
in the
actually?
larger sense of the topic, like the night sky, or just which route out of Las Vegas?
No, more like the bigger picture topic of like, I want to look at, water migration, or I
Yeah.
want to look at why ancient civilizations moved from here to here and then never came back. Like, how do you think these things up?
Well, it's there's an endless well of possibilities. I'm always every day I'm coming up with a new book project, and then going, okay, stop it. Yeah, stop doing that. You've got to
Making
finish
good
what you.
choices. Is it it seems a lot of historically based.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of flows. I've noticed a flow over time that I'll write about archaeology, ancient history, uh, Native American ancestry, pre-contact, and then I'll after doing that for a bit, I'll go. You know what? That's enough time with dead people.
Hmm.
That's kind of an intense thing to be writing about. There's a lot there that kind of electrifies your spirit, and you're like, okay, maybe it's time for animals, like
Yeah. Yeah.
live things that are right in front of you that are actually animated, and as opposed to thinking about these people who were here 10,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, this is what they were doing. There's so much
Mhm.
imagination, whereas right now I'm writing about mountain lions, and it's so visceral and real,
Yeah.
that it's not like archaeology, and it does feel like saying stepping away from the ghost, saying, "Hey, thanks. I'm going to take a little break."
Yeah.
Or then I'll go to earth sciences. Then I'll get out of animals entirely, and I'll go. Let's just talk about big earth structure,
Yeah.
billion year concepts. And so it changes. Uh, it just changes as this one story leads into the next and the next, and I'm going, okay, how do I like for writing about mountain lions? I One of my questions was, how do I want these years, these next couple of years to look? What this is a book that has kept me home, which is
Mm,
unusual. Most books,
mm.
I mean, I don't often travel terribly far,
Yeah.
but I don't often write about home, and I wanted to write about home, or I wanted to be home.
Yeah.
And the mountain lions have been part of my life for a long time. Stories just keep building, but then it's also serendipity. It's things start happening where I go, oh, mountain lion this, mountain lion that. Oh, it looks like mountain lions are happening now.
Like you
So I,
kept getting messages about like seeing like mountain lions, gift card and mountain lions are like popping up everywhere
Yeah.
for you.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And then I go, okay, it looks like this is actually happening. This is, and then I start thinking about it. But for that, I've been thinking about it for years until it finally came to the surface.
mm,
I think for the night sky, something similar. The night sky has always been part of what I've written. It's present in everything that I write. There's always going to be a powerful night sky somewhere. And then I see, oh, it's actually there are things in the world that are saying this is happening now. This should be written about right now. And I go, okay, I'm jumping on that.
okay.
So
I mean,
it's
there's a lot of listening to yourself and what's piquing your interest at,
yeah, yeah, and listening to what's going on.
yeah,
What stories are kind of rising. Um, like not just in the bigger like global sense, but in the just the personal sense of, oh, I'm having a lot of encounters.
mm,
I'm thinking about this a lot. The more I think about it, the more it puts me in this situation again and again and again until I go, there's a narrative that's forming.
yeah.
There's a story here.
It's so rare that we listen to all those, I think we already mentioned like serendipity or all those little things that happen, that we often don't pay attention to. So how do we pay attention to that stuff? And how
Yeah,
do you know if it's like just something happening or something you should be listening to? Because it sounds like you have this real, it sounds like your ears and like the way you feel and process information is pretty tuned.
but it's also I'm learning that oh, just because things are pushing me in a direction, that doesn't mean I want to go that direction. I had and I've written about this in different ways, but I had a book coming up that was about cops, military in the wilderness, people who've been through just intense human terror, ending up in the wilderness, and it's because I've become friends with cops or military people in the military who've been in conflict.
Yeah.
And we're in the backcountry together, and I go, oh wow, that's interesting to hear. You've had all that happen to you, huh? I know quite a few people that I've been in deep, wilderness experiences with, and they've had these things happen. And so was talking to an agent about it, and I said, I think there's something here. And the agent said, well, there's definitely something here, but do you really want to spend the next
Yeah.
2 3 years of your life focused on murder?
Yeah.
And I went, oh no,
Yeah.
I actually don't. And
Yeah.
and so it's not just hearing what's going on, but discerning that, oh, this is actually a story that I want to tell, that I want to be engaged with, that I want to be part of my life, or that I've got the bandwidth for this.
Yeah.
But when it came to like the bandwidth for a bomb diffuser in Iraq and an inner city cop and somebody who was
Yeah.
at a school shooting, and it's just like, oh, that's a different kind of bandwidth.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and that's a nature experience. I mean, obviously nature is hugely therapeutic for all of us, and I mean, it seems to be the theme. It is the theme in everything that you do. But that's a sort of a different layer of nature, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or not, or what brings people to nature. So maybe that's a good point. What brought you into just really wanting to be outside and immersed in nature all the time and learning about it and talking about it?
Because that's where it's happening.
Yeah. What's it? What's happening?
uh, that's where all the dynamics are going on.
Mm,
And they're not human contrived dynamics. I mean, I love cities. I
mm,
love the human wilderness, but I'm very familiar with it. I know, it's
yeah.
just like, oh yeah, a bunch of people like me with eyes and hands doing things. It's
So
different
there's
than,
no mystery. There's still no
yeah,
mystery for you in the natural world.
yeah. And there's the forces that work out there are so much more powerful than us
Yeah.
individually. And the wind versus a meeting room full of people. Oh, I'll take the wind because
Yeah.
the wind is like it's changing and I don't have control over it at all.
Yeah.
Um, and so I kind of like that. I can really release myself to it.
Yeah.
And I
It's such
grew
a
up in
beautiful
it.
way. Oh,
I
good. Say again.
I grew up in it. So
Yeah.
my mom, I grew up just as only child, single mom. Uh, and
Same.
she, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
there's something there.
Yeah.
Because, and she just has to be outside. She
Yeah.
cannot be inside for too long. And
Wow.
it was always, we're going to go on an adventure. We're going to, she quit her job and we moved to a cabin until we ran out of money and had to move back and get a job. And, and
Wow.
she just, she just went and went and went and still goes and goes. She just drove with her husband down to the tip of Baja.
Wow. I
And
mean, yeah, she set you up well then at that time.
yeah, yeah, I just learned that that's how you do it. And
Mhm.
she's an artist, so she would paint, and then we would go to strip malls, and she would sell sell paintings, and so I learned that art is important. Um,
Yeah.
it's worth it's worth the difficulty.
So I want to ask you about labels because I mean this is part of like having to introduce somebody. You're like, they're a this, they're a that, they're a whatever. And when you said your mom was an artist, it sort of made me think about, do you consider yourself an artist? Do you can would like if we had to label, which I
Yeah.
wish we didn't have to, but words help us sort of form you know, form an understanding. So if you have to label yourself, like
Uh,
what what are you?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like when somebody just a few days ago said, "Oh, you're a writer. What do you write?" And I went, "Nonfiction." I'm a nonfiction author. Just left it at that. And my wife is like palming her forehead, going, "Oh my God, Greg, you can't come up with a better description of what you do for a living."
Well, for a guy whose words are so beautiful, yeah, I have to agree with her that you might have a, but it's hard when people are, yeah, they're like, what do you do? Who are you? It's a question I've been sort of grappling with too, and I've started calling myself an explorer because
Yeah, when
athlete,
you said that,
like, but
yeah.
I'm curious, how do you, other than the I'm a nonfiction writer?
Yeah, when you said explorer at first, um, in your introduction, I was like, yes, that's what I am. Thank you.
Okay,
Uh,
okay,
so
so
when you were describing yourself as an explorer, I was going, oh yeah, yeah. There is a group of people that does this, that instead of going to see the stars, they bike to the stars, or they explore their way there. And I would say, above all else, that's what I am as an
yeah,
explorer. And I feel fortunate that I I have artistry too. That
yeah,
I now that you mention it, I would consider myself an artist.
yeah,
Um, so exploration and art to me go together so well.
yeah.
So maybe that's what I would put on a business card. But then you got to put asterisk on. I go, not an actual artist, just
Oh, no,
words.
no, we don't have to put asterisk. I can charge you for this business consultation later. I'll send you an invoice for your new bio that's going to say exploration, explorer,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
well, given you do have an amazing talent, and I love the way that you write. Like I said in the intro, I get really immersed. Even though I'm not in the place with your writing, I feel like I'm in the place. So do you want to read us a little sample of writing so people can get a sense of your voice?
sure, sure. I brought
Tell us what you've got.
this is a little book, like a pocket book. It goes in your pocket. It's called Virga and Bone.
Yeah, look. Here, hold yours up.
Oh, you've got it.
This was my first. Craig Child's book that I ever read
Oh,
because it was small and I was backpacking and I picked it up in Utah or something because it was small.
yeah.
So perfect. I love that you chose
Oh,
something from Burger and Bone. So let's hear it.
oh, that's great. That's what I wanted it to do. I wanted. Can we do something small that we can carry around?
It's
Um,
perfect for that.
well, I wanted to read a little bit from there's a chapter on called Virga, which I was flying with a friend of mine. He has a little canvas wing 1940 something Cessna that you can barely climb into, and we fly around and we land in the desert, and we stake the plane down and we take off on foot. And we were flying over Monument Valley, and there was Virga coming down out of one of the clouds, rain that wasn't touching the ground. And it's just beautiful stuff to look at. But then to be at eye level with it,
Yeah.
and I said, "Hey, can we fly through that?"
Oh,
He
wow.
said, "Oh, sure." And so we were over the Navajo Nation over Monument Valley, and I wrote the Navajo word for water is twa. The word shortened at the end, the sound of a drop of water landing. Virga is a Navajo koan, the sound of one drop not landing, waterless for those down below. My word for water sounds like want, sounds like desire, which might not be so different from the Navajo. Can we fly through it? I asked. The pilot looked over at the screen, the sheen of drizzle, a single curtain. He judged distances and potential turbulence in the air that had been stable since we left the trading post half an hour earlier. He said we should find out and tipped the plane, her wings shading us from the sun as we arced toward this floating steamship and its diaphanous trailer. Entering the Virgo was not as rough as we thought it would be. Expecting rattles and jolts, we instead sank into a well, our stomachs rising as we dropped. He increased power and lifted us back up. We could see raindrops, lone silver gray beads streaking by. They hit the wings and passed my window where I watched them fall, trailing several hundred feet before hissing back into air. One drop hit the rounded windscreen, then another, a fifth, an 11th. They were small as cooked peas, as ripe berries. Each became a small, staggering comet heading around the plexiglass, looking for a way off, the way down, wanting nothing more than to meet the ground. The plane fell again as we crossed the Virga's middle, then fell once more, riding down a staircase, the veneered cloth wings catching us as the pilot throttled back up. Cooler air descended inside the falls, carried down by water droplets, causing the air to sink. Only a few more drops fell against the windscreen as we tilted out the other side. It was 5 seconds across, a tenth of a mile thick. Virga, I can now say, is as velveteen as it looks. This was no downpour, technically a drizzle. I could have stood inside its rain and barely gotten wet.
Ah, I love that. I didn't know what Virgo was until I read this amazing little book. And yeah, if for those of you listening, if that's not immersing yourself absolutely in the experience, holy cow, it sounds amazing.
Thanks. Well, it's easy to write about that stuff, you know. It's like, whoa, that's all here, right in front of me. That's all happening.
Yeah.
And maybe that's another reason you were asking about if I could write without being there. I don't know, I don't know if I really could because being there delivers it all to you. You're going, oh yes, we're flying through Virga now, and the raindrops are doing this and that, and this is what it feels like. So it all kind of presents itself. So I guess in a way, I could say, oh, I'm a nonfiction writer, and that would be it. Just like, oh yeah, nonfiction, it's happening right now, right in front of us.
Experiential, immersive. You know what? I want to ask you about internal versus external exploration, awareness, because you're describing, you put yourself in these physical environments and you're feeling the wind, the energy, but there's also something going on inside when you're in these places?
Yeah.
Beyond like, oh, I need to write a book. Because correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you do these things only to write. I think you would
Yeah.
go do them anyway. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah. Writing is just the happenstance that comes out of it. Or, you know, it helps focus it. It
Yeah.
helps. I probably wouldn't do as much as I do. So I'm kind of using writing as a crutch to make sure that I go out and do these things.
Or
Uh,
a spark. Yeah.
or a spark. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a crutch. Like lucky us that you do write about your experiences. But um yeah, I'm curious about the internal, like when you're out there experiencing physical, what else are you experiencing? Is it a
Oh,
meditation? Is
oh
it
yeah.
an
Everything.
exploration? Is it therapy? Like what do you
Yeah.
feel inside?
Well, I'm experiencing, you know, the same thing every other human is. Everything you're walking through, you're going, oh, wow, this makes me think, reflect.
Mm, mm,
This reminds me of, this hurts me, this makes me happy, this makes me think of the larger picture, this makes me think of the smaller picture. It's it's kind of this constant dialogue.
mm.
And before I go any farther, I need to go get a power cord because I wasn't expecting to do this on my phone. And
Oh yeah, do it. Do it right now. We're
so
almost done,
now
but yeah, just to be safe.
it's somewhere around here. There.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that there's so much going on in front of you when you're out that you're processing on so many different levels. You know, there's the God, I want this trip to be over. I want to be
Sometimes,
somewhere
yeah.
else. Here's where I want to be, and here's why. And it makes you travel there in your mind. It makes you go, well, why do I need? Why am I trying to get away from here? What is this? So it's like travel is just so full of questions. When you're exploring, everything is a question.
So I want to get into some of the, because not everyone gets to be in the places that we are, and you wrote in my book, it was really great, but you wrote, get out of this book and onto the ground, set your eyes upward and swim in the stars. But you're basically telling me, get out of the book, get outside.
Yeah,
And what are we missing in our world? And this is much of the theme of the wild dark is like, what happens to a human in our world now where many people don't see the night sky, many people aren't in nature, that what's happening to us as humans by having that lack of
yeah.
night sky or nature in our lives?
I would imagine we lack the questioning that happens when we're out, the constant reflection on what is going on here.
Yeah.
And there's more of just an acceptance that, oh, this is what's going on, and we just go through it because you're not given the opportunity to explore it as much. Um, you know, not having the night sky just that takes off a huge layer of questions that you're
Yeah.
not asking. You know, to look up and see the stars, I think that's my initial response every time I go out is just like, what is that? like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what are we looking at? And even having science behind you and going, oh, well, that's a red giant, and that's the Milky Way disk of the galaxy. That doesn't answer the question of my God, how far am I seeing right now, and
Yeah.
what's the scale here?
Yeah.
Those kind of questions. To lose the night sky, that like cuts out half of the questions that a human being would ask.
Right.
And what is left of us then? I don't know. I mean, I am that person who's left behind at many times. I'm that person who doesn't see the night sky, who doesn't ask the questions, who's stuck in my whatever. I got deadlines. I
Yeah.
I stay focused. I can't be drifting off, thinking fanciful thoughts about loping across the horizon right now.
It's Yeah, our modern world, it's even people that live in natural places like you and I. Part of being a modern human is that we're all losing that space. It's the way you describe it, it sounds like it's almost like a closing in where
Mhm.
we become right in this little bubble around our physical form and almost even not making eye contact with another human that might be sitting next to you on an airplane and
Oh
be
yeah,
right in your it feels like a closing in to me, not just of the curiosity and the wonder of what's out there, but also of like who these other fellow humans are right here on
yeah,
earth.
yeah. I had an experience just recently. This fall, I was flying back from Lithuania, and where my wife, that's her homeland, and I was she was on a different flight, and we were flying across the Atlantic, uh, and somebody died on the plane,
Mm.
and and we landed in Reykjavik to take the body off the plane,
Mm.
and but only like probably 10 or 15 of us knew that somebody died
Oh wow.
because it's a big plane.
Yeah.
It's a transatlantic flight, major flight to New York, and just we were none of us made eye contact, but I just realized that nobody else knows that a body just got carried out the back of the plane on a stretcher,
Mm.
except for us, and we didn't. I was just like, well, I don't know who these people are. I don't know what their relationship to anything is. I don't
Mm.
know if I said something. If should I try to make contact? Do I want to make it? No, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm in seat 22F, and
Right.
that's my little bubble here. And then to fly another like 8 hours,
Mm.
going, huh, that just happened. We just saw it, and we will get off this plane and not say anything to each other.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe that's the world that we're in. That I mean, like making eye contact in New York City is not okay, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You people need some space,
Mm-hmm.
and so not making eye contact is a way of going, okay, I need this bubble because there are
Yeah.
millions of people all around me, and I cannot make eye contact with all of you.
Yeah.
Um, so I get it, but then it's like, oh, how much are we losing
Right.
by not like we should have on that plane? Like somebody should have stood up and said something.
Yeah.
Because even
Yeah.
when the pilot came on and said, "Hey, thanks for all your help. We had a medical emergency, and we're flying on now," I thought, "Oh, why didn't the pilot say something?" And then I thought, "Oh, nobody knows, and you're
Yeah.
not going to say, oh, by the way, for the next 8 hours, think about this."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it feels like, oh, we're glossing over so much,
Mm-hmm.
and not because I wanted the pilot to go, "We just lost somebody. Don't know who it was, don't know who their life was or
Yeah.
anything, but somebody died on this flight. So think a good thought or whatever." But
Yeah.
I understand why. It's probably written in the manual. If somebody dies, don't say anything about it. Uh, but but then what's left of us?
Yeah. There's a real lack of connection to our own humanity and also the world that's all out there. And so, I mean, none of us have the answers. I have answers for me personally. So when you feel away from nature and away from the night sky, what do you do? Like how do you sort of keep homeostasis for Craig Childs of like, so that you're operating and feeling good?
I guess I find it everywhere I can. I
Yeah.
walk into a grocery store and I go, whoa, look at all the colors.
Mm.
Look at
Yeah.
all these people walking around with their carts, thinking things and doing things. And
Yeah.
I kind of engage with whatever is right in front of me.
Yeah.
And and I find that it works. I mean, I guess I naturally just look around going, well, what is happening here that's
Noticing. You're still
Yeah.
noticing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what draws my eye? And sometimes it's just like my footsteps down the grocery store aisle, going, "Ah, walking human being. I know you. I know the sound you're making. I know what you're doing right now." So just like it's an engagement with
Yeah. You're not the guy
everything.
walking in the grocery store with your face in your phone.
Yeah, well, that happens too. Uh, I mean, I would like to be in that state of engagement all the time. Um,
Yeah.
and I say I'm in it a lot,
Yeah.
but then there's plenty of time that I'm lost and I'm asleep at the wheel.
Sure.
Just like I
Keep
don't know, I'm doing the next thing.
keep remembering. I mean, for me, that's why I'll nature and returning to nature will be a common theme for life because it is a way for me to reset for sure and
Yeah,
remember like, oh yeah, I remember all the stuff that is good for me that I like. Sometimes I forget, like all of us. I get
yeah,
stuck.
and maybe that's necessary. I'm not sure if it is or not. I tell myself that it is. Going, oh, you don't have the energy to be totally engaged all the time. You can, uh, scroll through nonsense on your phone. You can. Um, But then there's something that feels like it's cheating. Like, no, actually, you can engage all the time.
Yeah.
You're not going to be alive that long.
Yeah.
Like, come on, pay attention.
Yeah. Don't
There's
miss
stuff
any of the
happening.
good stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, it's also what I love about a bike ride is your hands are occupied on the handlebars. And so, you really can't, or rock climbing or paddling, you really can't be doing anything else other than what
yeah,
you're doing.
yeah. And I think just going outside is kind of like that in general. That
Yeah.
that you're no longer in the box that has all your stuff arranged,
Hmm.
and you've set the temperature, and you're out in a shifting light environment, temperatures, smells. In a way, I feel like nature is the cheapest way to get a full engagement. Like all you have to do is step into it and it happens. It doesn't take work. I mean, there's the physical work of whatever it is you're doing,
Yeah.
but really you're just there. It's just raining down on you with sensations that aren't in your control.
That is such a good we don't and we're in this world of like I have to do something or I have to do this or I need to meditate or I need to do whatever. And I love what you're saying. Like, I mean, that's where, the open arms of nature, you don't have to do it. You just go there and all the good stuff happens.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it just happens on its own without you having to do anything. And what a relief to let your brain say, "Oh, I don't have to do anything except be here."
yeah. Yeah, it's an amazing stimulant.
I have I have one last question for you. I could talk to you forever. Um, and we will share all your books with everybody. But since this is called What's the Rush, my last name, and I was very much a rusher, forced to slow down. And I have a question. Do you ever feel rushed?
Oh yeah.
You do?
Oh yeah.
What
Oh, I
and like
feel rushed
reading
all the
and
time.
writing, I would think you never feel rushed. But so when you feel rushed, what are the sensations and what do you do about it?
Well, I think the times that I'm writing, the times I'm writing about are the times that weren't rushed.
Right,
But
right.
the writing about them
Okay.
and everything that goes into, I mean, I'm basically a freelance writer,
Yeah,
and so my life is hustle.
yeah,
My life is gigs and articles and interviews and it's probably your life and my life are probably the same.
yeah. We're
Where,
hustlers.
yeah, and there's a rush to it. There's also I've put 10,000 things on my plate, and they're all amazing things, but there
Yeah,
are 10,000 of them.
yeah.
And like when we get off from here, I'm putting on a Santa costume and going into town, and I'm and I know, and there is a list of stuff that I got to get down there by a certain hour, and
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
I think that's life. I think that we're in it, and I think we've increased the amount of rush going on, because I mean during the 20 2019 2020 pandemic period, um, my life got very unrushed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I thought, oh my God, can you please do more of this? And it didn't happen. Like it just came back in like a tidal wave of like, okay, deadlines, we're back on it. And
With like double down, like times two, I think it came back. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, and all of us are rushed. Look, but I like you were alternating it with periods of not being rushed, which I
and
think that is the
yeah,
important equation.
that's what I do. I make sure to be out at dawn.
Mm,
You know, I make sure to sit on a boulder. I make sure to regardless of how the speed of my life, to engage with this other speeds, other paces that are going on around me. That's how I get back out of the fast paced brain set
yeah.
into, okay, let's go long and slow. Let's just be here and be present.
Well, you're speaking my language, going long and slow, and I do promise when we go on that long bike ride, I will make sure it's easy to stop so that we can sit on a boulder and look at the stars and hang out.
Yeah,
Pray Child has
that's
been
so much part of
amazing
it.
conversation. I am so happy to talk to you, and you need to go be Santa, and I really appreciate you being us being 10,001 things
Uh,
that you fit
no,
into
it's
today.
one of the good things.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you, and I do look forward to the next book, reading about mountain lions and hopefully an an adventure at some point.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that would be wonderful, Rebecca. Thank you.
Hey, it's a long and dusty road and a hot and heavy load. Folks I meet ain't always kind. Some are bad, some are good, some have done the best they could. Some have tried to ease my troubling mind. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Can't help but wonder where I'm bound.